If there ever was a verse that truly summarizes the Torah, it would be Beresheet chapter 18, verse 19. It really sums it up. You can read a verse before to get the context, but really just verse 19 in itself tells you everything you need to know. So I will read it to you. The Lord is speaking. For I have made myself known to him, speaking of Abraham, so that he will give orders to his sons and to his household after him to keep the way of Adonai, the Lord, and to do what is right and just, so that Adonai may bring about for Abraham what he has promised him. That's it. In one verse, summarizes the entirety of the Torah. First, Adonai chose Abraham. That's a fact, the chosen people. He has chosen him. No dispute there. He have made himself known to him. Why? So that by knowing the Lord, knowing his ways, he saw the template, the example. He will teach and ordain and command his sons, his children, and his household after him regarding the way of Adonai, to keep the way of Adonai, to do what is right and just. Meaning, you saw me, you saw how I do things, you know my ways, I have made myself known to you, now go and teach your children to teach their children. Go and be a peculiar people for me, a treasured possession, a set apart nation. Be the example. You know my path, I taught you. Now go and teach, pass it forward. Raise your sons to know my way, the way of Adonai, what is right and just. That's the entirety of the Torah. The 4 books afterward break it down for people who don't know what is right and just, but it really sums it up, doesn't it? Remember, the Torah was not invented at Mount Sinai, it always was. Truth is always truth. Righteousness is always righteousness, regardless of who's in the White House, who's in power, and what popular culture says. His truth, her truth. No, those are opinions and lies. There is only one truth. Righteousness is always righteousness, and wickedness is wickedness. So the Lord told Abraham, teach them to keep the way of Adonai, do what is right and just. Simply put. And why? So that Adonai may bring about for Abraham what he has promised him. There's that covenant. I want to bless you. Now make yourself blessable, so that I could bless you. Because you live according to my ways, you do what is right and just, I can bless you. Most of the time, the Lord cannot bless you because you are wicked and deceitful. You do not do what is right and just. You rob yourself of the blessings. So that's the Torah in a nutshell, really. That's the whole purpose of Israel. Abraham represents Israel. I have made myself known to you so that you would teach the nations after you, do what is just and right, and keep the way of Adonai. And if you do that, I will bring forth everything I promised. He promised regardless, but then he says, do this and you'll get what's promised. You don't have to do anything to get the promise. You do have to do something to keep the fulfillment of the promise. In other words, you got the car as a gift. You didn't have to earn it, but you do have to do something in order to keep it. Take care of it, keep the traffic laws, do what is just and right, don't violate anything, don't, use it for crimes, don't do anything shady with it, and you'll have it, it's yours. The land was given to the people, they didn't earn it. It was a covenant that the Lord gave to Abraham. Now that you have the land, do what's right in it so that you do not lose it. Same thing with Adam. Adam did not have to earn the Garden of Eden and the Tree of Life. It was given to him as a gift. He had to do something to not lose it. In other words, he had to do something to keep it, which is to keep the way of Adonai. Keep the commandments. That's the whole purpose, the whole Torah in a nutshell, in one verse. It's not complicated, people. Keep the way of Adonai, observe the way of Adonai, keep his commandments. Do what is right, do what is just. Don't try to manipulate and twist his words and give interpretations and come up with your oral traditions and your... No, just keep the way of Adonai. Do what is right and just. It's not complicated. One verse. Now to expand on this, like I said, to give you the context, Adonai is coming with a couple of angels toward the city of Sodom to judge that city. And then Adonai says, should I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do? Inasmuch as Abraham is sure to become a great and strong nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by him. That's the context. Basically, the Lord, Adonai, is saying, I'm going to judge this city, and why should I hide this from Abraham? After all, the whole purpose of me being here is to teach him. I want to bless you, but look, this is what happens when you do not obey, when you do not do what is just and right. You see that city over there, Sodom and Gomorrah? Their outcry has reached the heavens and their sin is so great, I'm going to go and destroy them. That's the context, verse 18, and then it goes, verse 19, for I have made myself known to him so that he will give orders to his children and to his household after him to keep the way of Adonai, so that you will not end up like Sodom and Gomorrah. No, I made myself known to you, so now you know what to do. You could say Sodom and Gomorrah did not know. But Abraham knew. And then he goes on, verse 20. Adonai said, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great and their sin is so serious. I will now go down there and see if it is true. And of course, we know the rest of the story. Abraham attempts to intercede. Will you actually sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Maybe there are 50 righteous. And the negotiation begins, and Abraham goes down to 10 righteous men, like I said in the previous message. And there weren't even 10. Abraham really thought of his nephew. We know that because his nephew Lot lived in Sodom. So he was like, uh-oh, that's where my nephew lives. I got to do something here. But he knew he had no case. That's why he was like, well, he tried 50, but then like, well, you know, it doesn't really have 50. Maybe 40. It doesn't really have 40. 30? 30, 20, 10. And Abraham knew, obviously, he knows the people. He went after them in the war and brought Lot and his family back. He knows. Lot had a family, had his household there, his workers, but think about that. Abraham knew that none of them were righteous. All of the shepherds and herders of Lot, not even 10. And he had a lot of sheep and flocks, so you know he had a lot of people working for him. Abraham had 318 people under him. You know Lot had more than 10, and yet even Abraham knew none of them were no good. Or actually, all of them were no good. So think about this. This is the Torah. So simply put, in just a short passage to understand everything about life that you need to understand. The Lord judges the wicked. He is a just and righteous judge. He will destroy those who do not do what is just and right, those who do not keep his ways. It is just that simple. He gives mercy, yes. He gives grace, yes. He was willing to let the whole city remain for a season if there were 10 righteous men, but there weren't any except Lot and his household, and really only Lot was the righteous one. We saw what his daughters did. They were no good, and his wife, she died on the way. Not complicated. Very, very simple to understand. The Torah is so straightforward. The fact you do not get it is evidence you do not want to understand it. You do not want to get it. You have hardened your heart. You are uncircumcised. You have stiff-necked yourself. Just keep the way of Adonai and do what is right and just. Everything else will take care of itself. Remember that.